This podcast is brought to you by Mapper Forward's new Patreon community, the Global Coffee Think Tank. Check the show notes or head to patreon.com/Mapper Forward to find out how you can become a member today. Welcome to the Daily Coffee Pro by Mapper Forward, friends. We are back with Nawar Adra from Stitch Coffee, and we are talking about how much money you should be spending on branding. So let's talk dollars, because people, please prepare to take a seat and
Yeah. Cost a fortune.
and look, when I show clients your brand, they're like, that looks like it was expensive. What they think expensive is versus what expensive actually is makes them fall off their chair. So why don't we have a chat about what people's expectations should be around what branding costs?
Okay, I think we need to break it down a little bit because we're gonna have the people who just started their business.
Yeah.
We're gonna have people who have some type of revenue.
Yeah.
And we're gonna have people that have, well-established revenue, but they don't have
Yeah.
the brand yet. I think those three are a little bit different from each other's life cycle. They're not in the same life cycle. I think if you're a beginner, from a branding perspective, it's important to find someone local, someone who next to you understand your brand, want to work with you, understand what you're trying to do. And you'll be looking around, the price tags from a starting point is at least 12,000 to 18,000. Now, but what does that mean, right? What are you getting out of that? What's you getting out of it? It's a very limited thing you're getting out of it, like some people are gonna give you, we're gonna do your, what do you call it, business card. Just delete that. Don't worry about that. Focus on what matters for your brand. Like, don't let them do work that that you're not gonna use, and it does not include your website. So don't ever think 18,000 is including my website or anything like that. No, that's just simple, your logo or collaterals and the
brand colors,
a little bit about the tone. If they were good branders, they will talk to you about tone. Like, what are you trying to achieve with the brand? What kind of conversation you want to have with people? That way you'll be looking at it, the 18,000, but that does not include packaging. So
and
whatever
folks,
they're gonna
just to clarify, that's AUD, that's Aussie dollars.
Yeah. From an Australian point of view. And it's not include packaging. So don't ever think whatever digitally is on that screen with that price tag is what you're getting, because packaging is a whole different world, right? So when it comes to packaging, and also please, when you do get your designer to do it, just make sure it can translate on different platforms.
Mm-hmm.
So, things that look good digitally need to look good printed. Things that look good printed need to look digitally. And also don't forget the phone, So it needs
merch.
to align, and merch and all that. So, you can't go ahead and say, all right, I want to build this mailing box and I got 5 colors in it. That's going to cost a fortune.
I tell all my clients, do yourself a favor and keep your brand colors to like 2. That will pay off big time when it comes to printing t-shirts, when it comes to making mailer boxes, when it comes to all the kind of stuff. Like, it's nice to put something on a website and it's a dragon with 35 different colors in it and it's got lots of detail in it. You're going to try and put it on a tiny little profile picture on Instagram, or you're going to try and print that on a t-shirt. You're super fucked. For many reasons from that perspective. So, yeah.
100%. So that's a very important, tips there. Now, let's say you're, somehow you have some type of revenue, right? Like, you've been doing it, got someone who designed your logo and everything. You're okay. You're doing right. I think at that point is your brand here is about now customer experience,
Mm.
right? So the first one is about visuals, and I want to get myself known, and I just want to people to know this is my right. It's just like the same thing
I've
as
put some
marketing. You're
effort.
going through an awareness. Yeah, you're going through awareness. You're going through, a different stages of the purchase or the customer experience. So when you have a little bit of extra money, or money flooding in, this is where you start looking into okay, I want more collateral because whatever he gave me or she gave me at that time does not fit into the purpose that I'm in. Then you need to have a budget. Now that budget could be 1% of your overall um,
Revenue.
gross,
Mm-hmm.
2% of it, whatever that you can afford, I guess, is what you need to look for,
Mm-hmm.
right? So, for instance, let's say you probably want to budget at least $500 a week to put it on the side. A little bit less than that. It depends how crazy you are and what you're looking for. Uh, but
Am
but
I
it's
Nawar
very
Adra or not?
yeah, right.
That's the
But
compass
but
question there.
but don't think about revenue stream today. That's what I want to say. Like, don't ever think it's going to pay you off tomorrow. It's not a return on investment that you can straight away read it. It's not a return on investment that you can straight away um, looking into the numbers and it's just gonna boom.
Mm.
It's not a marketing expenditure. It's where you can spend money on Facebook. You can get a return. You can see it.
There's
It's
no
beautiful.
immediate ROI on branding.
100%.
You can't measure the ROI of branding. And that's something that's really difficult to get people to understand. So,
Very
marketing for
hard.
brand awareness is a really kind of murky field for people because they're like, well, I'm going to spend all this money on brand awareness, but it's not going to convert as a sale. So why would I spend more money here than on actual targeted campaigns? Well, it depends on the point of your business development that you're at. If you are at a
100%.
point where you have to, the more people that know about your brand and you're exposing them to it for the first time, you're better spending the money on that than forcing a sales pitch down their throat. You want to get them to know about your
Yeah.
brand.
Yeah,
Curiosity,
I
right?
agree. And exactly. So that takes time. It takes a lot of patience. You need to continuously evolving it, make it look fun. Like what we do, there's a lot of illustration. So design is embedded in
In your
Stitch
brand.
Coffee. Like
Mm.
it's gonna become a design brand more than, uh, probably coffee. I don't know where it's gonna take me,
How
but it could
exciting
take me
though.
to places. Yeah, I think so. I think, like a good example is Tesla, right? And I'm not nowhere near it, but what I'm saying is Tesla is a battery company and a technology company before it is a car company, right?
It's so funny
That
you say this. I'm researching Tesla at the moment because I'm looking to become an investor in Tesla. And so I'm trying to understand what their core business actually is. And at the moment, it's, the general public would see Tesla as a car company. But give it a couple of years, and from where the innovation is coming from, it's going to become a robotics company.
Yeah, exactly, right? Like where it's gonna take you next is
Exactly.
the thing. So for them is, they're not really a car company, and I don't see it. I still believe the moment, a German car catch up to some of the technology. The thing is, the technology is so freaking good over there. Like the autopilot, the investment they have, the batteries, all that is
Mm-hmm.
them that extra boost all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Right? But from a German point of view, when they rock into it, I mean, these guys have been building cars for many, many years. Like a good
Mm-hmm.
example is the Loring versus Probat, right?
Right.
if we're gonna stick within the industry that we're in, is that when you see a Probat door open and close, it's just industrial, it's you know what
Right.
I mean? Like, it does not need something that's gonna break at any moment. So what I'm saying, it's gonna close and there won't be any leak whatsoever because it's
Right.
German engineered. They've done it for millions of years. It's cast iron. It has nothing to do with freaking stainless steel that goes in and out with the heat, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, on the other hand, too much technology, too much focusing on different elements in the roasting, blah blah blah. It's the door over here. It's a little bit more finicky.
Right.
It might have a bit of an issue. You have to keep your eyes on it to understand. That's exactly what happened with us recently. That's why I'm giving that very good example. You know,
And you've got both, don't
and
you?
I do have both, and like it's interesting because one, once you get it rolling, the German is just it's diesel. It's just gonna roll.
Yep.
You know, the other one, when you talk about technology too much, when there is too many sensors, you got more problem than when you have no sensors.
It's really interesting because it's like the battle between engineering and technology. And there is a point
Yeah,
where those two things diverge, they don't merge. So, and they,
yeah,
they do at some points, particularly in things like Tesla, there is a real convergence between engineering and technology. The two are really symbiotic in that kind of brand because you've got the big problem that Tesla's trying to solve right now is real world AI. How
yeah,
can the cameras of a car look at somebody crossing the road and make a decision whether they're going to wait for the light or whether they're going to try and jump out in front of the car? That's a real world human, thousands of thoughts go into that decision making. When we're driving a car, we're getting ready to put the brakes. Are they, aren't they? Blah, 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 blah. Real world AI has to solve those problems for us. That's technology.
yeah.
Engineering is the part of it that's going to turn around and say, push the brake, clamp on the tires, stop the car. It's that kind of a difference in the elements that go into the product, but that inform the brand. And the reason this is so interesting is because you look at a brand like Apple, and that's kind of, again, technology and engineering, but the brand and the design lean so heavily into technology that people worship at the feet of
Mm.
Apple because of their disruptive technology.
And the simplicity. So
And they expect it.
that's really aligned with like experiencing through branding, experience through
Mm.
packaging, experience through that. And this is where you need to start taking a bit more heavy thoughts, and you need to spend more money. Like, don't just sit on a design can last 3 years. Like, just have that thought process. We've done the t-shirt today. All right, well, let's look for the next one, how it's going to look like. And that's a brand. Brand that has done something, give it to the sales, move to the next thing, create something new.
Mm.
That's how you're going to continuously evolving it and make it better and better
Right.
and better, because practice what's going to make you a better brand.
And for all the solo entrepreneurs that are out there that are thinking, but I don't have a sales team to pass my brand on to. I'm going to come up with the t-shirt and I'm going to be responsible for selling that with the coffee bag. Something that's really important for first-time entrepreneurs in our industry to understand is that if you build it, they will not come just because you've built it. You have to sell it. You have to market it. You have to put an enormous amount of effort into not only building the brand, but getting it out there again and again and again and again and again. The big problem our industry seems to be kind of confused by is, but I built the cafe. Why isn't anybody coming? I built this beautiful store and and I don't have enough customers, or I built this gorgeous coffee roasting brand and this website. Why aren't I getting any traffic towards it? Look at my branding. It's beautiful. Okay. Have you told it?
It's
How are you
beyond
telling
that.
people about it? What's your customer acquisition plan?
Yeah.
There's just so many elements to it.
There is, and then just finally you got, the guy who has a bigger budget or,
Yeah.
spending all that. This is where renewable of what you're doing is important. And then, putting your money into, new sources of packaging and a better recyclability, all that. And that's could be up to like, 5% of your yearly gross, whatever it is that you want to spend on. But their impact is a lot more quick. Like you can see the improvements quicker. Why? Because they got a baseline.
Right. And we're talking about real money here. Like we're talking about, $100,000 plus.
$200,000. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And this is what, but that thing will give, why? Because you got the impact, you got the, you got the followers, you've got the people, you can see things a lot more, you get more clarity when you implement something new. So it's really staged. It depends where you are in your life cycle
As a business, right?
Like 100%. It's not right at the beginning. It's very hard to get it right. You can, and don't be afraid of, look what other brands are doing. Copy some of it. Like don't just copy everything they
Hold on,
do.
we just need to clarify that so that you don't end up getting sued. He doesn't mean copy them. He means take inspiration from them.
Something like that.
Yeah, don't
exactly,
copy anything, please. Just look at a
just
brand
inspired
by it. Exactly.
Yeah.
Before we go on to the next episode, I wanted to ask you, have you had, I know the answer to this, but I want to explore it a little bit. Have you had any branding decisions that failed?
Yeah, I think one of those decisions is, I think we spoke about it earlier, is some of the packaging that we have done. They were a little bit ahead of my time, I guess. I think my understanding of blowing people's mind and where I am, it wasn't aligned at all. A lot of bad decisions. To be honestly, no joke. We do so much project and really few of it goes into the production. Like I can give you a t-shirt we designed and we spend hours and then we scraped it. Yep. You know what I mean? We're like, nah, I changed my mind. I don't think it's gonna work. So, we were gonna do this basketball Sacramento. It, was kind of bringing Sydney Bridge with, same as what Sacramento have, and make that thing happening, and try to have this hornets because we've got the animals. Like, you know what I'm saying? I always have those thought process, but it never worked. It was like, I don't see it. We did the whole design and we scraped it. So yeah, there's a lot of things you might not. Don't be afraid. Again, it's cost money, but don't be afraid to say, nah, it's not a good idea. But don't stop yourself from making those exploitation, because that's the only way. As I said, if you don't practice branding, you will never be good at it.
And and as the industry moves on, from, I guess, pre-pandemic, we had a very typical way of doing business. We had a typical way of setting up a coffee brand, and people weren't evolving and innovating as much as they are now, because the industry is undergoing a transformation. Because of the pandemic, because of supply chain, because of inflation, because of a whole bunch of stuff. Why don't we talk about how that is influencing branding in the next episode? All righty. Peace, love, and peanut butter, everybody. Have an amazing rest of your day. Thanks, friends. If you enjoyed this video, here's what you should check out next. Consider supporting Map It Forward on Patreon, and be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell before you leave.